Yeah.
It's wild to really think about it. It's like, wow, we really like stayed in the house for almost a year.
I remember seeing people fist fighting over masks.
And that's what a lot of this, this industry is. Like, I'm not sure if you found out or know about the Diddy Cassie thing.
Yeah.
But that's what this industry is. And I had just had enough. I was tired. And I was angry with God. Angry. Because it was, if you're an all-powerful, almighty God, why would you let this happen to me? And if you're not going to give me a purpose for my life, then why am I here? And so I got belligerently drunk. And I took a box cutter. And I attempted to slit my wrist. And the blade would not cut.
We coming straight for your end. The track just like your edges, you know that them babies land. So used to hearing now, I may knowledge prerogative. Now that we cooking in your cage, remember just what we said. Come find out, y'all gon' look around and find out. Y'all gon' look around and find out. Y'all gon' look around and find out. Find out, play with me. On my gritty like.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of C-Rod's Tell Me a Story podcast. I'm your host, C-Rod. Let me tell you a story. Today's story starts out in the UK, where our main character was born. From the UK, he will find himself in South Dakota. From South Dakota, he will find himself in Colorado. And then from Colorado, he will find himself in Texas, eventually making his way back to Colorado, where he would call Colorado Springs his home. He moved around a lot because his father was in the military, the Air Force to be exact. And so he grew up a typical military kid, saying yes sir and no sir, and doing things that most military kids would do. At the age of 10, his parents would get divorced. This would affect him deeply and was a very troubling time in his life. He would, though, eventually recover and find himself going to college in pursuit of his musical career. His love for music was deep and his ambition was great. He would work day in and day out in pursuit of his musical career, grinding hard in pursuit of making it to those next levels. After years of sacrifice and not garnishing the results that he desired, he found himself in a dark place. It was here one night he would find himself consumed with disappointment and grief, a box cutter in his hand, and cursing the heavens above. He would make it through this night, and a light would pierce through his soul, opening his eyes to a new perspective. He would take this newfound ambition and engulf himself in R&B and gospel music, resonating with everybody who comes in contact with it. As we hit a wide arrangement of topics, I come to know that he is a true blessing to this world. His presence on this earth is enough to change the dynamics of the future. I was lucky enough to sit down and have a conversation with him and listen to his insights on life. So it's my honor to bring you his story and the story of today's featured guest, Json Martin. All right, back at you with another episode of C-Rod's Tell Me a Story podcast. I'm your host, C-Rod, and I'm back at you with another episode with my guest, Json.
What's up? I'm so happy to be here. This is awesome, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
Oh, of course.
Thank you for responding to me. I get left on red a lot.
I don't know how. This is pretty amazing, bro.
So Json is a really good, talented artist. He sings, he raps, he does gospel music, he produces. As y'all know, I say this all the time on all the podcasts. I go through every morning, I get up and don't act like y'all don't do this. I sit on this toilet and I scroll through my phone, all right? Don't act like y'all don't do that shit, all right? Yeah. And yeah, I spend about 30 minutes in there scrolling till my legs fall asleep. But so I scroll through the phone because I'm looking for talent and guests to come in and people that I want to feature. What do I look at when looking for people that I want to feature? Well, I'm looking for hardworking people. Well, that's one that I'm looking for. Two, I'm looking for originality. if you're coming on, if you're a rapper and you're just saying a bunch of curse words, you got a ski mask on, and you got a bunch of toy guns in your video, I'm probably gonna skip over you. If you're a influencer or a DJ or an actor and you're real snobby, I'm gonna flip over you. If you're a R&B singer and you haven't posted once every 360 days, I'm gonna skip over you. All right. But as I'm going through this and I'm looking, I see this. So it says making beats from samples or turning up a sample, something like that, something along those lines. Yeah. And I started looking, and I see this guy. He got his little setup going, and he's like start hitting the drum machines, and he's looking for samples, and he just starts putting something together it's unreal. And he's using samples, but it was so original and he's sampling himself. So I'm reaching out to this guy because this guy's unbelievable. So I reach out to him. He reaches back out to me, and here we are. So you know the name of the game on C-Rod's Tell Me Your Story podcast. This is the People's Podcast. This is a podcast so that we could all share each other's stories, and hopefully we can realize that we're all not that different. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Democrat, Republican, whatever it is, we're all pretty much the same, and we all pretty much just want to take care of our families and progress in life. Mm-hmm. Except for the slime balls. There are slime balls out there, but they won't be on this platform. With that being said, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, thank you for listening to my introduction.
No, it was good, man.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot one more thing. You know what? So what I hate talking to, don't you hate when you have to say like and subscribe?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that with a passion.
You gotta try to do it like super like original. Like you gotta do something that makes it stand out. Like and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta do something to make it stand out. But I get it.
I hate doing it. I was like my first 15 episodes. I said it at the very end of the podcast. And I start realizing when you do like a 2-hour podcast or something, there's not many people listening at the very end.
Yeah.
So I have to say I'm at the beginning. So like, subscribe, comment, follow the channel, get us up above 1,000 subscribers, and let's get monetized. All right.
Come on now.
All right.
It's great work.
So where you from, my brother?
Originally, I'm from the UK. I'm a military brat.
Oh, okay.
So I was born in the UK. From the UK, I went stateside to South Dakota, to Colorado, to Texas, and then back to Colorado, and that's kind of where I've stayed.
Wow, that's a lot.
My dad was in the Air Force, so just moving now around and, dealing with all that military stuff. Yes, sir, no, sir.
Living in base housing and all that?
Yeah.
Oh. And so how old were you when you moved here? Do you remember the UK?
Not so much. I was still pretty young. I think I came here about like 3 years old. So I was pretty young.
Do you remember all the moving here in the States? Or
I remember a little bit from South Dakota
wow.
to here and of course Texas and back.
You had to get out. Say no black people in South Dakota, is there?
I was too young to remember, but I probably would imagine there ain't a lot.
I might be being stereotypical right there, but
I mean,
doesn't feel like it.
Nah, there's some places we don't like to do the cold like that.
Yeah, right.
So probably not. Like black people in Alaska,
they up there.
I've heard that.
I heard that. Yeah,
because they're trying to get that oil money. Is what it is. Yeah, get that government stimulus up there. That's what I heard.
Doesn't Alaska get like a yearly check or something?
Mm-hmm. So I heard because of oil drilling, you get like a stipend of I think it's like 600 or something. It's like it's a good amount per person in your family too.
Wow.
So
that's why I'm going Alaska, girls.
I mean, it'd be dark half of the year though.
Oh wow,
it's rough. I
have an uncle who lives up there. He sends. Don't even think I've ever met him, but I remember watching VHS as a kid of him shooting bears and elk and all types of wild animals.
It's a lifestyle, man. I mean, it wouldn't be for me, but I wouldn't mind trying it at least, see the Northern Lights or something.
Did you see them when they were here the other day?
Nah, I was asleep, vast majority of the population.
I really want. So that's something that I've always wanted to see, and then I'm like, they're here, and I'm like 10 o'clock. I'm gonna stay away. I'm gonna stay away.
Oh man,
Out.
man, I definitely wish I would have seen it, but I will one day. Like I'm gonna actually travel to see it though. Like I'm gonna go up north
Make
and
an
do it
event.
right.
So it was nice that we got to see it, but doesn't that mean that the Earth almost died? Wasn't that
I'm not sure how that phenomenon even works, to be honest with you.
It was a solar flare.
Oh.
And it just came really close to the Earth.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I'm a millennial. At this point, I'm kind of tired of living through catastrophic events. So, it was first Y2K, then it's the Mayan calendar, and then it was the pandemic, and then it was, January 6th, and now it's, Israel. Like it's literally almost something every 2 years at this point.
Yeah.
North Korea,
honestly, I think it's been like that since forever. Yeah. Imagine like back in the day they were dealing with like world wars and being drafted and shit like that.
I get it. Yeah. I get it. But it's gotten now it's just like, oh, it's another one? Nuclear war? Okay, yeah, sure.
Right? Yeah, to them they were like, holy shit,
Zombie apocalypse. Remember when that one drug came out and it was making people eat people. Remember in Florida?
Yeah.
What was it, Flocka or something? Bath salt.
Yeah,
that's what it was. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and then
it did.
Like, so at this point, it's like I kind of lived through a lot of it. I was like, I mean, I don't think people get it. Like the pandemic, like we literally watched the entire world shut down.
Yeah.
And felt it out.
That was crazy.
Moved by faith. It was just like, hey, we in the house. We can't go to no malls. We can't. We just here. But we gonna figure it out.
So I didn't even feel the pandemic because, like I told you, I would own delivery companies, and I was.
Oh, so you did good.
I just went anywhere. Like
okay.
I had they gave me a paper to say I can go anywhere.
Same.
So I didn't. I feel like I should have quarantined. Maybe I'm a bad citizen, but I was working, and so I just went out, just did my thing.
I think now that we know, like. No, you weren't bad.
And I never got sick.
Nobody was like same thing. I got one of those. What was it called? Valuable citizen. What was it? Sacred worker or something.
Nah, I know what you're talking about. Essential.
Yeah, essential worker, meaning disposable. So yeah, I had the same thing, and that was so cool. I liked it because literally I would like be driving downtown and be a complete ghost town, and it's like
the traffic was great.
Oh, it was amazing. Like if that's the one thing I regret, like. Looking back, I wish, like, obviously you can't enjoy it in the middle of it because it's like you don't know what's happening. You like it's different.
Yeah. But like,
if I could have tried to enjoy some of it, the aspects of it a little more, and not worry so much, like I think I would have definitely wished I could have did that. Like, if like my dad actually took huge advantage because, I mean, it's a little risky because. He got some flights for the cheap. Because, of course, this was right before the airplanes had started, the airlines had started closing down. Yeah. So he got these flights for the cheap and went to Europe. And so imagine seeing, like, Vatican City and all that, and nobody's out there.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Like, you get the whole museum, the whole fountain.
Is that what he did like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Now, I think that's a little risky because, you could wind up getting stranded over there. Now you got to stay over there. Yeah. But it worked out for him. But, like, if I could have did that experience again, like, drive to the Grand Canyon or Sedona or some place like that where nobody was going to be.
That'd been dope.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah. We were going to go to Italy when that happened. I think Italy was one of the first countries to shut down.
Yeah.
Like right when I was getting stuff ready and setting it up, and then me, I'm old head, so they're like, "This COVID, ain't worried about that shit. We was gonna Europe, They're like, "We can't go nowhere."
Super spreader.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, like I totally get it. Like, but it was a crazy experience. Like, it's wild to really think about it. It's like, wow, we really stayed in the house for almost a year.
I remember seeing people fist fighting over mask. Over mask. Like, put your mask on. I don't wear a mask. Literally, like, getting in fist fights over this stuff. I was like, oh my God, is that serious?
And like, people had no idea. So my dad's in the medical field. So I actually had a special like cloth ND. It's like an ND90 mask. It's the actual only mask that actually will filter out germs and everything.
The only one that works.
And they wouldn't let me on the airplane with it. They're like, you need to have this little cheap mask that doesn't work.
Take off the one that works.
Yeah, take the one that like completely closes your face in.
Put this shit on.
Put this one on. And I was like, bro, this is like, there's an actual filter in here. Like,
that's stupid.
And like, and I spent a lot of money because it made me look like Sub-Zero. But, but yeah, they would not let me on the plane with it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Have you seen that Key and Peele skit where, is it Key and Peele? I don't know. I want to say it's Key and Peele. They're talking about, how much damage you could do with 9 ounces of fluid, you know?
Yeah,
you know
but it's like, but the 8.5 ounces.
8.5.
Can't do anything. It's just
can't do anything with 8.5.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's so stupid. So when you moved back to Colorado, were you? How old were you? I know you moved to Texas and then back to Colorado.
I was young, probably about like 6 or 7.
So have you been here since then?
For the most part, yeah. For the most part,
you're pretty much a native by now.
Pretty much,
Jesus.
yeah. Pretty much. Like I left for Texas for I think like 2 or 3 years, and then came back.
Did you grow up? Is it around here in Denver or Aurora? Or?
Colorado Springs.
Oh,
but then I came to Denver when I went to college and stayed here.
Isn't it crazy how in the Springs I owned a business over there, and when I went to hire, I set my wages for the same as I set here in Denver. And like in one day I had 100 applicants. Well, I start looking, their wages in the Springs are so much lower than the wages here in Denver. Have you ever noticed?
I didn't know that.
Oh man, it's crazy. So here in Denver, if I put a job out, if you own a business and you go to hire employees, you better have $20 an hour on there.
Yeah.
And if you put it out, let's just say 1 week, you get 50 applicants, right? Mm-hmm. The Springs, you put $20 an hour, 1 week, you're gonna have 1,000. You're gonna have 1,000 applicants. That's crazy.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. Cost of living is a little bit lower, but I don't know. I feel like with how inflation and everything's been getting, like, it's just kind of really hard to live anywhere in Colorado these days.
Yeah, I feel like they pay the same. I just think that their jobs just don't pay as much. Like,
so I got a question. So as a business owner, a successful one at that, how do you feel about just where things are going economically, you know, worker to employer to employee relationships? How do you feel about all that?
Well, I could see there's two sides, right? So if I would say the boss side, sometimes I think, how could I say this without offending people?
Just say it, man. Just say it like what it is.
Well, I want people to understand it, and if they get offended, they're not listening. So
okay,
you know what I mean? So sometimes when you invest substantial amount of monies, I feel like maybe the worker feels entitled to too much of the return.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then again, I feel like some owners are just too damn greedy and they don't pay enough. You know what I mean? So I think what happens was, what I would always see is the people like me who would want to help and want to do the right things would get bad raps from the people who were greedy. You know what I mean? And then sometimes you get people come after you because they have the mindset.
Because they have the perception that you're
just some greedy rich guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's probably how I feel about it.
Okay. I get that.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. I'm trying to see how this is sustainable where, you know, we've got multiple billionaires.
Yeah.
And like, let's take Bezos, where it's like, dude, you've got, like, your wife is the richest woman in the world because she divorced you.
Yeah, just retire already.
And you have literal workers peeing in bottles because they can't take a bathroom shift.
Yeah, well, I could testify to that because I owned an Amazon company. And I could say workers pee in bottles because they don't want to stop and go to the bathroom.
Is that what it is? As I've heard.
That's what it is.
Is it?
That's exactly what
Because I've heard the warehouse conditions are like.
Their warehouses are so nice, bro.
Are they?
They're so nice. They have a panic room where you just go in there and sit down and have a quiet time. There's a room you can go in there and close the door.
Were you a DSP or the actual?
I owned a DSP.
Okay.
I bought, bro. Here's a rule. They have a rule over there where if you're tired, you have I think it's 10 hours a month where you could just walk out. So like you get to the end of your shift and you're like, I'm tired. I'm gonna leave an hour early.
So why is there?
Yeah, 10 hours you could do that a week.
Why is their turnover rate so high?
It's the industry one. So here's something that I did notice about people.
Okay.
So I grew up thinking one way, and I would say like people, for example, and this is gonna sound shitty, but I would see people like my friends and family and they'd be struggling, and I would say, it's the man. Mm-hmm. It's the system. It's the way things are made out. Mm-hmm. And then as I became not even just a business owner, I started moving into managerial positions.
Yeah.
And started being around people and seeing how, you know, how this industry worked and stuff. Here's an example, and this will probably sum it up. I used to manage a Little Caesars.
Okay.
Do you know the sign dancers in front of Little Caesars?
Yeah.
Well, those sign dancers actually increase your profit. So they increased our sales, I forget the percentage. And the owner of the store came to me and he said, hey, since we use the sign dancers, our sales have went up this much. We only had them part-time at the time. So he said, I want to put them all 40 hours a week and we'll give them a $2 raise. Okay. So I was like, nice. So the lady came in and I was like, hey, I got some great news. You're doing a great job and we're going to give you a $2 raise. We're going to give you 20 more hours a week. Exact words. I can't do that. They'll take away my HUD and my food stamps. Exact words. Okay. Exact words. You know, so that's like some people don't have that drive is what I'm saying. Like some people just don't give a shit. You know what I mean? They don't give a shit. And that's when you hear like people say, Amazon makes me pee in the bottle or this and that. Amazon makes, because they don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
I think there's also the other side of where it's like, because I can attest to my own story where it's like, you know, I got laid off from a position that I had in December. Like, it was kind of ruthless too. Whereas literally like 2 days before my birthday, 3 weeks before Christmas, just laid off.
That's fucked up.
And the dude, and what was super messed up about it was like literally the owner was like, okay, well, can you let me know what you like? We're gonna let you go, but we'll hold your position for spring if you want to. Can you let me know if that works for you by tomorrow?
What the?
Literally,
that's the guy I'm talking about. Though, remember I said the bad owners to give.
Yeah, and so it's like you also have the dynamic where it's like, yo, like I've been doing the work, but you literally like just left me out to dry. Yeah. And I was actually on the job hunt for like 5 months. I just got a new position.
Oh, that's good.
And some of which, like, I applied to some DSPs. They literally told me that we approve you. You got the job. We like you. Come on in for your onboarding. They never called me in. They like 3 different DSPs,
it's
3 different
season.
times.
It's the season.
They never told me that I had the job and never even did the onboarding to bring me in. And so it's like, because we know that people take advantage of the system if they can.
Yeah.
But there are those that they want to work they're busting out 40, sometimes 50 hours, and it's just not stretching.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Those are the ones that they should be getting like a couple $100 extra a month, or should be getting the HUD.
I mean,
right?
I don't know what the government has against, single people that don't have kids, but like
make you struggle.
Man, like something. Like I don't know. Like I'm not I'm not an economist. I'm not an expert in all that. I just don't see how it's sustainable. It seems like more and more people are like, yo, my $20 is not going where it used to. Like,
that's for sure.
Groceries, like common things, clothes, groceries, it's just ridiculous. And I think it's like, again, I get it. It's easy to blame the people that, are billionaires and got all this money. But at the same time, I'm not even really blaming them so much as like, is it sustainable? Yeah. Like if we're a team here in America and we want to win and we want to be the best, you want everybody on your team to have what they need to succeed. And right now, it just does not seem to be distributing the way it should be.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
And so I just don't know if it's just sustainable, and I don't know what the solution is. I just know like we can't just continue to keep ignoring this problem where it's like people are working for 40 hours and still can't have good medical care. And, we're handing out these predatory college loans, even though the government is vehemently against predatory loans, but that's essentially what these are. That's literally stuck on people where they've been paying it off and they'll never pay it off. They've already paid their principal balance, but the interest is so high that it's like, what are we doing? Like, I know people, like, that's one of the things that I've kind of become against college these days, because I went and I got my degree, but it's like, I know people that, like, have amazing degrees working fast food.
Man, isn't that crazy?
People that are supposed to be 5-star chefs working at Subway.
Wow.
Like,
what?
And so it's just like, I don't know what the solution is, but man, that's
not working for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. My daughters are getting ready for all that stuff, and I wonder, like she has to make her own choices, but I wonder.
If I could have done it again, especially for my field, because I went for music, which is useless. and I mean, and I say that like in a funny way, but also not like it. Yeah, like
time doing that.
Like if I could have done it again, I would have. While in high school, I would have went to a trade school. I would have gotten some knowledge for HVAC, welding, electric, something like that, and then done the first 2 years maybe at a community college, which would have been cheaper because I had a scholarship and all that. Like,
wow.
And my story is really weird with college because actually I had a full ride, but somehow they still were able to stick me with a 30G bill even with a full ride.
What the?
Yeah, that's a whole thing. But I might have not even like I don't regret going to college because of the friends and the networking and stuff like that. But that wasn't worth 30 G's. Huh. And especially for music, like, did I become a much better artist and musician and way more self-sustaining and capable? Yeah, but at the cost of a predatory loan, I don't know.
30 G's, you could have did some big things.
Yeah, like I could have taken a personal business loan.
Man, you could have did some big things.
Yeah, and I can you can declare bankruptcy on a personal business loan.
Wow.
You can't do that with these college loans. That's yours till you die.
Oh, really?
Oh no, you cannot declare bankruptcy on a college.
Why is that?
It's the federal government.
Motherfuckers. So when you were when did you move to Denver? As an adult?
Yeah, shortly after high school. I've always been pretty self-sufficient. I've always lived on my own, but I take that back. So after high school, due to all of my slam poetry, music work, all that, I got a scholarship full ride to Adams State University in Alamosa. I did like 2-3 years there. Didn't like the music program wasn't really suited for me. It's more suited for like classical. Like if you want to, be a conductor or work in an orchestra, be a classical pianist, something like that. That's what that's designed for. I wanted to go into actual music production. So then I moved on to University of Colorado, Denver, I think in my 4th year, and then stayed there and finished out there.
So was it a bachelor's and master's? Or
Bachelor's.
And music?
Mm-hmm. Recording arts, sound engineering, and audio mastering.
Did you need it? Yeah, but you're still good.
I mean,
sounds good, though.
I don't want to throw my parents under the bus. I think, in their time when they were coming up, a college degree had a lot more value regardless of what the major was. It was just, do you have your degree? Because neither of my parents had degrees. And at their time, it had a lot more weight and value. These days, like even after I got my degree and got into the job field, I think I've only been asked for my degree once.
Wow.
Only once. And even with that, it's not like I got paid an exorbitant amount more. I think in their time, and to their thinking, they were like, okay, you're going to get this degree. You're going to make some great money. They have good intentions, great intentions, but it's just kind of the changing times that we're kind of facing as millennials, as a country, as people, and how to pivot in those changing times is what's really tripping people up. Because these days, I would not recommend college for people. Like, I would not recommend anybody go to college unless if you're actually going for STEM related stuff, science, math, engineering, being a lawyer, being a doctor, something like that. If you're going because you want to be a photographer, just take a photography class.
For arts.
If you're wanting to go because you want to be a psychologist, go sit up there and study under somebody. Go be an assistant. Like, there's some of these fields in the humanitarian sector that like the degree just does not match the bill. It just doesn't. Even when it comes to doctors, like, yeah, you might sit up there and be making $100,000 a year, but by the time you're done with your degree and you get slapped with your loans, you might sit up there and owe $250,000. You might not be able to really start paying that off until like your 4th or 5th, 6th year being a doctor or a lawyer. Wow. And it's like, I mean, that's why I feel like some of these institutions definitely are predatory.
Oh, for sure.
And college being one of them, loans have always been that way. I would not recommend, like, if you're trying to be in the art industry and you want to go to college, the only way I would probably say you should go is if like you want to get into the marketing side or the music business side, because that way it at least can translate to somewhere else. Yeah. Marketing and the art sector can translate to marketing in business or in other sectors. Yeah. But like these days, even having a degree in engineering, it's almost we're in a weird space, especially this is really interesting. In entertainment right now, the entire entertainment industry, because I have a lot of connects, a lot of friends, a lot of connects in the entertainment industry. And we're in such a weird space entertainment wise where social media, AI, new technology, the way people consume their entertainment has changed so much that a lot of traditional methods and ways are pretty much just completely disintegrating. And it's happening, not only are these things existing, but it's happening so fast, people don't know how to pivot. So let me give you an example. Back in your day, VH1 music videos, right? When is the last time that you discovered a new artist from watching a music video?
It's usually opposite. You discover the artist and then you go watch the video.
Exactly. When's the last time magazines, right? When's the last time you discovered an artist recently from a magazine or a blog?
True.
Or the radio.
Yeah.
And so right now in entertainment, we're in a very, very weird space. So anybody that wants to get into entertainment, one, I would say I'm not trying to kill nobody's dream, but you got to have a plan B, and you've got to have a way to pay these bills, because music in particular has always been kind of shaky. It's always kind of had ups and downs, but this is very, very different because streaming is just not sustainable. It's not like you can't pay people 0.004 of a cent for a stream.
Wow.
And even then, like, these streaming companies aren't making the money that they kind of need to make to sustain the bigger acts, which is affecting the record labels. And so right now, if you're trying to get into entertainment, you definitely need to have a plan B, and you definitely need to readjust and reevaluate what success means, which is what a lot of what I preach about these days. Because again, a lot of these traditional things that we get into music for has nothing to do with the love of music, has nothing to do with creativity, and has only to do with vanity and trying to get your way and living up to some expectation of success. Good example, the Grammys. There used to be a lot more value in Grammys, and there still is some value, but the truth is, Jelly Roll, a completely independent artist who's been mainly got his rise through social media and TikTok, independently just won a Grammy.
Jelly Roll's been around for 20 years.
Yeah. And so what does that Grammy do for him? He already had the fan base. He was already making money. He already had the audience and was selling out shows. What did the Grammy really do for him?
Yeah.
Solidified him for something else. He was already solidified.
Made him feel good and fuzzy. I don't know. Nothing really.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about the entertainment industry is like, it's not just music, it's also film. So one of my best friends, he's a first camera shooter out of Atlanta. He's worked on, Marvel, The Walking Dead, CNN, MSNBC. He came to me and he was like, dude, I don't know if I'm going to work for the rest of this year. Because Atlanta was supposed to be kind of the new Mecca that would replace LA, just because, it's cheaper taxes, more area, and just landmass space in terms of just filming. And, last year in Atlanta, they had 86 films, professional production films shot there. This year they have 8.
Damn.
And so he just got done working off of one, and he was like, dude, I don't know if I'm going to be able to work for the rest of this year. Now imagine that. Imagine literally, it's like you are the guy at this point. You're the first camera shooter for major motion pictures. You're working with the celebrities. You've made it. And now, because of how finicky this industry is, you don't know if you're going to work for the rest of this year. Oh, by the way, you didn't work last year either because of the writer's strike. Oh, by the way, you didn't work 2 years prior to that. COVID.
Sounds like being an entrepreneur. Kind of the same.
In some ways worse, because because once you're a part of the union, there are certain things you can't control. If the union goes on strike, you can't control that. You can't undercut your union. You'll never work again. And some of what that writer's strike, what people don't understand about that is it wasn't just writers and actors. No. That got affected. You're talking writers, you're talking actors, you're talking set designers, you're talking choreographers, you're talking stunt people, you're talking catering, transportation.
The extras.
Tens of thousands of people jobless.
I wonder who are the ones that wanted to strike the most.
It was a necessary strike, because when you're talking, so again, we're talking about the people on top and ethics and morals and values, people that get greedy. AI, how we work with AI is a very, very valid conversation, because what these big studios have done is they have essentially displaced a lot of these workers. And this is true in both music and entertainment. So let me explain for those that don't know how this works. Traditionally, like let's take the movie Dune, right? Traditionally, you would need a crew of about, 40 to 80 people. You would pack up a bunch of trucks. You'd go out to the Arizona desert or some big desert somewhere. You'd work with the locals in nearby towns, and you would shoot the movie, and this would take a prolonged amount of period of time that you would have to compensate these people for, because you have to factor in weather and sun and lighting and, accidents and things like that. Camera issues, troubleshooting, all that type of stuff. And then you come up with the movie. What these studios have now done is they have built these massive all-in-one AI integrated studios that are essentially giant green screen rooms. Huge. And not only are they giant green screen rooms, but built into the actual walls are specific LED lighting and cameras. So now instead of your crew of, 40 to 80 to 120 people, you need substantially less because the cameras are already there. And this green room can specifically light an entire scene, an element, and generate it through AI and computers to make it seem like you're walking in a desert at night, even though it's in the middle of Atlanta on a Tuesday and it's sunny out.
In a building.
Yeah. So this displaces all those jobs. Now, it makes it a lot cheaper. So again, this is where the consumer also plays a role in this, because as consumers, we have said we do not care about quality. We want to be entertained. We want it now, and we want it fast. So then the studios say, okay, we can make a movie a lot faster, and we've cut down our crew. So now we have more money, but at the expense of all these individuals. And the same thing, so now you're getting all these high-end movies made with sound staging and AI, and then these labels are getting greedy. These executives are getting greedy because now they're saying, okay, we've got these actors. What if they get sick one day and they can't perform their lines? Well, we'll just put somebody in a giant green suit and we'll take an AI digital replicate of their face and put it on, Joe Schmo over here. We'll replace Joe Schmo's voice with the actor's voice because we've already got a huge sample size of how they talk and how they speak and their mannerisms. We'll just throw that in there. So now you're really displacing actors, and you're taking actual likeness from these actors. So this is why this strike is necessary, because it's okay. You're utilizing AI and this new technology to really displace us purposefully. And in music, it gets even worse. We've seen what happens when with the 3D imprinted celebrity performances.
That's right.
So what now happens if, let's say I'm a Christian artist and my values of being a Christian artist are flat out laid out, but you don't like that as a record label. So now you take an AI copy of my voice and you have me saying stuff that I wouldn't say. And you have me doing features with Sexy Red, who I would never do a feature for. But because I signed a contract with you, you now have the rights to do that.
You still wear your likeness.
And so this is where entertainment is in a very, very weird space right now. And now we have an extra layer on top of it in music, because, you've heard the song BBL Drizzy, right?
Probably. I'm old.
It's okay. So during the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef, one of the producers that didn't like Drake had a problem with Drake. His name's Metro Boomin. All right. They went back and forth, but Metro Boomin is a producer. He's not a rapper. So he responded by taking an AI-generated song that was completely done in a Motown style. And the song is called BBL Drizzy. And it's a song about how Drake has a BBL. And then he puts some drums over it, samples it, and everybody laughs. Everybody thinks it's fun. Until you start recognizing the consequences of like, yo, you just created through AI, you wrote lyrics, created a digital singer that can sing really well, an entire production band that can play really well. And now it's going viral. So where does that leave the value for the people that actually make it? When you literally just went to AI for next to nothing. Yeah. And you created it.
We're coming to the future, that's for sure.
And so, you know, my worry for a lot of artists is that we get so wrapped up in these traditional forms of entertainment. Because keep in mind, you got a lot of these artists coming out here that are literally devoting years, decades of their life in hopes that they can be signed, that they can feature with this artist, that they can win a Grammy or
and never make it.
Never make it. Yeah. But it's one thing not to make it, but it's a whole other thing to where it's like, bro, do you even want to be in this? And that's a legitimate question. Like, when we're really looking at what this is, what this industry does, like the very fact that you as an executive are okay with incorporating AI to displace me already kind of communicates a very manipulative, abusive relationship. You're looking to get me out of here. You're looking to get me for what you can get out of me and then throw me away the second you can. And that's what a lot of this, you know, this industry is. Like, I'm not sure if you found out or know about the Diddy Cassie thing.
Yeah.
But that's what this industry is.
You know, he really beat her bad in that video, huh?
He did, but like, here's what people don't see. So again, do you want to be in this business? Like, rumors about Diddy ain't new.
Yeah. And you know what he did ain't new. Think about it. It's not good. It's unfortunate. But if you go back to even before cameras, you had Ike and Tina, and you had Ray Charles. Is it Ray Charles? Yeah.
And then, Ike and Tina. You've got a lot of.
You go back, way back.
The problem is like, when you get into this business with unchecked validation and then you start getting access to excess, more money, more wealth, more status, you are setting yourself up to become a monster.
Yeah.
And very few people can handle that. And, you know, ultimately, you know, this industry has a real habit of preying off of people's dreams and taking what it can get and then dropping off everybody else and then walking away with it.
Yeah, it's true. This world, it's a tough industry. I think if I was a rapper or musician, I think I would just not try to be a millionaire and maybe just make $60,000 to $100,000 a year and just live a normal life.
Yeah.
That would be fine with me.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of what this industry is going to, because it's like you can't really how are you going to compete as a rapper where literally somebody can go to AI, type in some lyrics, and now they have a hot song instantly that they spend no money for, where you as a rapper, you have to go to a studio.
Yeah.
You have to do marketing. You have to get artwork done. You've got to sign up on these social media platforms and, do basic ad campaigns and all that type of stuff. It's like, how are you going to compete with that? And the truth is, it's like some people will be able to compete better, but ultimately we have now gotten as a society to a point where we are devaluing art so much that it has become useless. It's become a novelty. Yeah. Music used to have a real value. You would pay for it. You would get a vinyl record and you would sit in front of a stereo and literally sit there, and that was your entertainment for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That's not how things are consumed anymore. Yeah. It's very fleeting, very quick.
Yeah. So like the only thing that we could do is pivot our game because AI is here. It's not going nowhere.
Nope.
It's here, and it's not just in music. Mm-hmm. It's in all aspects of life. Mm-hmm. And I would say in the next 10 to 20 years, there's going to be crazy, just like when I was a kid before internet. I don't know if you remember before internet. But
oh, I do.
Yeah.
Well, not before, but I remember dial-up.
I can remember, for example, when I didn't finish school, but I had a teacher come to me and try to get me to come back to school when I had quit. And I remember him telling me, we got these computer things coming. And I was like, y'all ain't getting no computers. They're super expensive. They ain't gonna get y'all no computers. And he's like, no, we're going to get a whole room full of computers. And we're going to have this thing called the internet. And when you get on the internet, he was saying you could do your work and you could get a GED. And I was like, man, ain't no internet. I can remember telling him, that shit's fake. Get the hell out of here.
And to clarify, like, the technology isn't to be feared, because I use AI. I incorporate that, especially when I'm doing filmmaking and things like that and photography. Like, I use new technologies and AI as well, but it's the new technology in conjunction with these big corporate entities that get too greedy. That's where it gets bad. Yeah. And I feel like, the internet was, it's a noble pursuit. It's something that's meant to kind of connect us all instantly and, share knowledge. And did some people profit off of it? Absolutely. And was it pure? By no means was it completely pure. But the thing that I'm seeing with AI is it seems to be much more of a thing for personal gain than for help. And that's what kind of worries me about it.
Have you seen the restaurant in California with no employees, all AI? Have you seen it? It's pretty crazy. Not. So you walk in. You know how like they had the kiosks at Taco Bell and stuff?
Yeah.
So it's like that. You put your order in, and then in the back, machines make all your food, and then it just pushes it out. Like there's fry shakers and like there's no humans in that whole restaurant.
I wonder how the food tastes.
So they got good reviews. They got good reviews. You know?
I mean,
like, how do they know how does the AI taste the food, right?
I mean,
Probably
I'm sure it
imaging.
doesn't taste it. I'm sure it just goes by a basic recipe and just carries out the task. But
it probably shoots an image on it. Is this burned?
It's like when things are made sterile versus made with care and love.
Yeah.
How does that affect us?
Yeah. Well,
I don't want to know.
Like the podcast. You have reel makers. You ever seen them? You could upload your podcast. It'll cut it into 15
Oh yes,
minutes.
I've seen that. And
so I was like, that's a great idea. So I upload it, and I guess the reels are interesting to a computer, but maybe not to real people. Like they're not the best topics, or like they'll give you a reel. You'll think, oh, this is a really good reel, but it'll cut off the first 30 seconds that gave the whole real contents, or it'll cut off the last 30 seconds to give the real, the finishing, you know, the effect that it needed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I will use it, but I'll just scheme what it picked. Like, let's see what they looked, because a lot of times it doesn't pick very, I guess it's the human touch, you know, like that the human touch is real.
Yeah.
But so when you lived in Colorado Springs, was it because your dad was in the Air Force? You lived because the Air Force base down there, right? Mm-hmm. What's your dad like? Yes sir, no sir? Type of guy make you say yes or no sir? No. My dad was military. We had to say yes or no sir.
Exceptional in his own right. So he retired early. Became a pastor. So that's how I got into music. He was so after the military, or during the military, he was a firefighter, and then transferred from being a military firefighter to an actual firefighter. And then, you know, he still was a firefighter, but he had a side job where he was a DJ, and he became a hip hop DJ. He worked with Ja Rule, DMX, Mystical.
You know. How old is your dad?
Huh?
How old is your dad?
It's like 50 something. And that's what kind of got me into music. And, you know, but then he became a pastor. And, you know, he ran my grandfather's church, Open Bible Baptist Church in Colorado Springs. Is still there. He's still a pastor. And as an extension of that, he created a free medical clinic. So right now there's a free medical clinic in Colorado Springs where it has actual licensed physicians. They'll do everything but surgery. And if you probably need surgery, they could probably recommend you for somebody. You can get free medical care. And from him doing that and his experience as a firefighter, he essentially created a government program which was a version of Obamacare before Obamacare. Wow. Version of it, which is where he made a lot of his money, working with the government. Because essentially it was, how do we cut down the cost of city resources? Because right now, most of the times when people go to the emergency room, it is for treatable things. You had the flu, and you know, you just had a really bad version of the flu, and you just don't have proper insurance to get the meds that you need, or, you know, something of that nature. Preventable stuff. Well, let's take that flu scenario. If you're succumbing to the flu and we have to come and pick you up in an ambulance, that ambulance ride is 10 G's out of the city payers' money. Off rip. Yeah. That's not including to get you to lay in the beds, that's not to get you hydrated. Visit. That's nothing.
That's the ride over there.
So it was, how do we, you know, so I guess it was a version of defund the police also before that, because it was like, how do we reallocate funds from different entities in a way that actually serves the community better? And so that's how he did that.
That is pretty exceptional. Mm-hmm. And your mom?
My mom works managing some of the top hotels in Colorado. Nice. From the DoubleTree to Cheyenne Mountain Conference Resort to...
Doing that for a long time?
Huh?
She's been doing that for a long time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As long as you can remember, huh?
Oh, yeah.
How did they meet?
I have no idea.
You don't know how your parents met?
No, that's
not
true.
You're slipping.
They were in high school. They're high school sweethearts.
Oh, are they still together?
They're not.
Oh, I was going to say, wow.
Yeah. And then my stepmom is a pharmacist, and then my stepdad is a teacher, but he is retired Marine Special Force Recon.
So how old were you when your parents split up?
I'd say it was about 10, 11, somewhere in there.
Yeah. What was that like for you?
It was horrible. I didn't take it well at all.
Did you feel at fault?
Not at fault, just being confused, because it's kind of like having your reality kind of change on you. I would say the one thing I would say for me as a kid is like, you know, I spent a lot of time alone as a kid, like, and I didn't talk very much, but I was very perceptive to a lot of stuff. But I would stay in my room a lot, just, you know, kind of in my own little world. But I do remember like the conversation, and I didn't take it very well. Like at first I didn't even know what divorce meant. So like when they're like, oh, you know, we're getting a divorce, my sister like got up from the table and ran and cried to her room, and I was just sitting there like, okay,
what's that mean?
Yeah. And then,
wow.
And then they told me, and then I cried, and I was
of
like,
course. Yeah. Did you know that they were having issues?
Yeah.
Did they argue in front of you and stuff?
Yeah.
Was it bad or?
Yeah.
So was divorce the better option for them with kids?
You know, I would say in their case, yeah, but I don't prescribe that. It's hard to say. I think the better option would have been, you know, the thing, you know, and not to throw my dad under the table, like, I think there were certain things he did out of expectation that he wasn't really ready for. And same with my mom too. But especially him, like, I think he wanted kids. I don't think he was so ready to be a father. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
And I think, you know, he wanted to be married, but wasn't understanding of what it was to really be a husband and take on those tenets.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that's part of, in a way, I think it's good to get married very young. But at the same time, you know, the difference between, you know, black men back then and us black men now is we are having these very, very real conversations about emotions and feelings and responsibility. Because, you know, his generation was, oh, you're just going to do it just because you need to do it, and that's just how we've always done it, and you just need to man up, and we don't talk about it, and that's not, and that works for some people. But my generation of black men, we are starting to have these conversations that says, okay, bro, just because you're not cheating on your wife doesn't make you a good husband. Just because you're coming home every night doesn't make you a good husband automatically. Like, you actually need to love, honor, respect your wife. You need to be able to have these conversations that bring you together. You need to be present. You need to be a part of your children's lives. You need to watch how you communicate through your tone and your emotions. Like, these are the in-depth instructional conversations that we are now starting to have as black men that have really been missing from, you know, our community for quite some time. Which is why there's like, you've already seen it. There's kind of like a big gender war going on, especially in our generation, but it's really heightened in the black community. It's really bad. Where black men and black women are not seeing eye to eye on a lot of things. And there's a reason why. It's because, you know, for the first time, we're in this weird space of both of us are reassessing our values. Because black women are the only race of women that make more than us as black men. They're starting to make more. Now, there's a caveat to that. They also have way more debt, way more bankruptcy, things like that. But, you know, the traditional value of, okay, I'm the man, I'm going to pay all the bills because I've got this great job and I can afford to do so. And now you can be a stay-at-home mom and take care of the kids and nurture and stuff like that. That's not really working for us right now because we need dual income because things have just gotten so expensive. And so now black men are coming forward and saying, these are the things that we want to see. And black women are saying, these are the things that we want to see. And so right now we're kind of in contention. And we're trying to find a space for that. And the social media is just making it 10 times worse because social media magnifies the loudest, most arrogant, ignorant of voices and posts it for the world to see. And that also can influence the more reasonable people. And so that's happening on both the man and the women's side. And I ultimately feel like we will come to some sort of agreement, but it's going to just take time. Because also, you know, black men and black women have dropped the ball in the past, you know, as it relates to, you know, involving the government in our affairs. Yeah. You know, and involving certain ideologies in our relationships that don't benefit us and that were never meant for us. And so there's reconciling that has to happen. There's accountability that has to happen. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at right now.
I think a lot of the black community is moving away from the Democrat side, because tell me this, when you were growing up, I remember asking my mom, I say, Mom, what is a Democrat? What's a Republican? They say, Democrats are for the poor, Republicans are for the rich. Remember hearing that? And I say, what are we? We're Democrats. Okay. So then I grow up and I learn, well, who started the Ku Klux Klan? The Democrat Party. Oh, no shit. Okay. Well, who started Jim Crow? Oh, Democrat Party. Whoa, what the hell? Mom, what's going on now? Yeah. Why are we
So
I think not just the black community, but the Latino community and just the lower financial, economical part of the country, they're starting to open their eyes to that. And I think that's changed a lot of the beliefs.
I feel like I wouldn't say it's moving away from the Democrat Party. It's starting to say, what's the point of the parties in the first place?
For real. Crips and Bloods.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I think Malcolm X said it best. It's like Republicans are like wolves, but Democrats are like foxes, but both will eat the rabbit.
I like that. That's really good.
Yeah. And so there are, in some instances, you know, there are some progressive or leftist ideologies that have proven not to work with the black community.
Oh, yeah.
It just doesn't. Yeah. But at the same time, we also acknowledge that there's a lot of, you know, white privilege, racism that the Republican Party still kind of like romanticizes and plays with and walks parallel to, which we don't like. But at the same time, the policies in some ways benefit us. And so what I think, you know, Black America is going to start doing is start saying, you know what, we're not going to be Republican or Democrat. We're going to look based on the candidate, and we're going to start holding our candidates accountable to what you say. Yeah. And if you don't, then we're going to take our vote somewhere else to your exact opposition.
Yeah, I agree. I think all America should be doing that, not just.
Yeah.
That's how it was meant to be.
But I mean, there are certain people, like, we got to just keep it real. There are certain people that, you know, of certain races, like, they're going to be fine no matter who's in the party. Yeah. But it's when, you know, you're a minority in a country and you're dealing with disenfranchised and you're dealing with poor, you know, resources and community and things like that, you don't have that luxury to just side with one forever. But I would say socially, the Democratic Party wins the black vote because it closer aligns. Not exactly aligns. There are still some things like...
I just can't get over that they started the Ku Klux Klan. I can't get over that they're the slave party. The Democratic Party was the slave party.
Yes and no.
No, they started the Ku Klux Klan. They were the slave party.
But how it worked out was, back in those days, the party switched.
Yeah, there was a switch.
So ideologically, the Democratic Party of then is closer to the Republican Party of today. And vice versa, the Republican Party of back then was closer, was the inverse.
I don't know.
And this is how, and how we know this is because some of the very first representatives, like black representatives after, you know,
they were probably Republicans.
Were black, and they were Republicans.
Yeah, most likely.
And, you know, so ultimately, yeah, like.
And none of the Democratic parties have helped black people. Most of their policies have not. Like they, and I'm older than you, so maybe I'm just the old head and I'm just saying some old bullshit that doesn't make no sense. But I don't think, like, when I research it and I look into, like, them used to send people to black women's home to make sure their man is not in their home in order for them to get their check. Did you know that? They used to have home checks to make sure the man wasn't in the house.
Well, that was for welfare.
Yeah, but still.
Or no, I'm sorry, that was for Section 8 housing. That's Section 8 housing.
Why? That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. It should be the opposite. So we're going to try to get you out of there. We need to make sure everybody's there working.
So I just talked about this. So remember when I talked to you about how black men and black women have some things that we have to acknowledge?
Is that one of them?
So one of the ways that black women kind of went against black men, this is going to get me in trouble, but it is what it is.
It's okay.
Black women started embracing feminist ideology. Now, feminism, as it first started by white women because they wanted the right to vote. They had problems with their white husbands, their white counterparts, because they were treated much more as property. That has never really been the case for black men to black women because we've never had the power to legislate anything. We've never had that power. And our dynamic was a little different because black women always kind of worked alongside black men because we were disenfranchised. We needed the money because opportunities were less from us. However, black women started taking in a lot of this feminist rhetoric, especially as we're getting into the second and third wave feminism, where it's kind of, you know, pointing the finger at the man instead of the actual issues of pay, wages, voting rights, things like that, civil rights. And so black women started hearing a lot of these talking points and started saying, well, we don't really need our men, and our men are treating us like this, and our men are disenfranchising us. And that's not to say that black men didn't have their problems and were perfect, but these were talking points that white women had much more of their white counterparts than black women really had of their black counterparts. So then what they did is they started going to the government for welfare. Section 8 housing. Section 8 housing is terrible for the black community because, as you just said, those home checks where it's like, we're going to give you a house. We're going to essentially be your man. The government, that's what Section 8 did. It said, we are going to be your man. We're going to give you a house. We're going to pay your bills. We're going to give you money. But you can't have a black man in the house.
It's craziness.
So this disenfranchised black men. And you know, part of the reason why that even happened in the first place was because black men were displaced because what we had a lot of jobs in were in factory work. But then all the factory work was shipped out overseas. That's a Republican thing. So the Republican Party drastically took away the black.
Was that Reagan doing that? Was that Reagan?
I can't recall who, because it was Reagan. A little bit before my time, but essentially you had, and it's and I don't want to say all Republican Party. It was spearheaded by the Republican Party. Democrats were, I'm sure, on board too.
Rich folk.
Yeah, rich folk. But that's in both parties.
Yeah.
Took away all these jobs that black men had. And so this is how black men started turning to being street pharmaceutical reps and doing and, you know, getting into drugs and things of that because you literally took the jobs away. But we still have to make money. We still have families to feed. Yeah. But then this is kind of this vortex that spiraled down. And then, you know, black men, so the sin of a lot of black men, where we started poisoning our own communities through gangs and violence and drugs. And this is some of the things that we as black men have to take accountability for. But some of the things that black women have to take accountability for is that you embrace these, feminist ideologies, and you started bringing in the government into the home. And so the Republican Party is not, is by no means innocent. No party is.
No, hell no. They're all crooked.
As far as who helps more,
it's hard to say.
I mean, I like to think that black people help themselves the most.
All right. Yeah, I saw that. My look on race is kind of crazy. Like I said, my dad's black, my mom's Mexican, and my stepdad was white. So
you kind of see a little bit of multiple perspectives.
I've seen it all.
Yeah.
And my stepdad, he would come. I grew up in the ghetto. He would come pick me up. I'd be in the back, man, and my friends would come in the back. Yo, the cops just came here looking for you. I'll be like, what? Some white guy. I told him you weren't here. Don't worry about it.
That's hilarious.
I'll be calling my dads before cell phones. I'll be like, oh shit.
So yeah, you got into experience. What culture do you think like you draw closer to?
So growing up, I think because I grew up in like the barrio, like space, and I think I rated more. I didn't like Hispanic people because they were so racist to me. They were just so racist to me, so I felt more connected to black people. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense.
Like I didn't like the same things. You know what I mean? Like I would go to their house and they got like the accordion and Spanish music playing, which my mom and that side of my family did. But I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. And that's the one thing I love about black people, black culture. Like we are accepting sometimes to a fault.
Yeah.
Like we've been on the bottom so long. We just like, yo, man, he cool. Come on through. Like we clown on everybody. We love on everybody. We like.
Yeah.
Like we have our moments where we're like, man, these dang white people just tripping today. But like we're one of those people that like we will openly embrace other cultures and will like even integrate it into ourselves. Like that's why I love hip hop so much.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where it's like everybody can come in, everybody can be a part. Yeah, especially these days.
Yeah. And then I used to be like, I wouldn't want to even tell people that I was biracial sometimes because I used to get like a lot of racists from black people. Yeah. I'd be like, yo, what's up, yo? Yeah, my dad's black. Shut the fuck up, you lying. Get the fuck out of here. You get that all the time.
Yeah, same with me because like both my parents are black. My dad is biracial, but I am a quarter white, but I am just this light.
Don't look like it.
Yeah, I am just this white.
I would say maybe Hispanic if I had to guess.
I have gotten that too. Yeah. But no, I am just pure black. But like, yeah, I definitely get it. Like I've had experienced the kind of mixed experience.
Oh, it's a rough life.
Yeah.
It was, especially in the 80s and nowadays,
I bet
bro,
back then it was
nowadays
it was on your ass.
Look, if you think about it though, if you go into Walmart, you see biracial people everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Oh, I see what you're getting at. Back then,
you know how many were in my school?
I see where you're going.
I had a school about 5,000 people.
I see where you're
How many biracial people you think were in my school?
Yeah, there's probably like 6.
Me, my brother, and another set of brothers.
Yeah.
That was it.
I can see where that was
and
especially you said in Kentucky.
So I grew up in Kentucky and South Texas. So this is South Texas. Yeah. It's like Mexico, bro.
Yeah.
I used to
and that's weird because, when I was in Texas, because I was still a kid, I remember, and granted, I was in Dallas, so, kind of more
further north,
liberal city, but still Texas. I remember everybody being really genuinely nice to me. Like all the white girls liked me.
Whatever.
All the white girls like me.
Hey, look at this light
It was
complected
like,
brother.
ooh,
What's
look
up?
at that man. Yeah, but no, I definitely could see, like, yeah, there's been times where, you know, like, yeah, I've, you know, because, you know, in the black community, we deal with this premise of colorism, which, you know, goes back to slavery, you know, the house slave, the field slave.
How dark.
Yeah, how dark, how light you are. And it's like, I never felt, me personally, I never felt like I was more accepted by white people or more valued aesthetically by black people because of my skin color. I didn't. Not saying that doesn't exist, but that just wasn't me in my experience. Like, I felt like I kind of got treated like a little bit of everybody.
Yeah.
But, you know, I definitely be making some dark skin jokes.
The first time I heard one, I would see. So, like I said, I didn't grow up around Mexican people, white people. All my friends were black and shit. But like, I never heard like some of them black culture stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was like, I just wasn't around it enough. And like, I remember first time I was around, like, forget who I was with. It was with my friend's mom, and she said, "Oh, Chris, watch out with him. He's a dark one." And I remember thinking, "What the dark one? What the hell does that mean?"
Midnight darkness.
She said, "You gotta watch out with him. He's a dark one." I was so shocked. I had never heard.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know that.
It's
that was a thing.
it's definitely a thing.
It's definitely a thing. It's definitely
absolutely a thing.
I said, "What you mean?" She said,
Yeah.
"Just be careful with him. You can't trust him." I said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. It's definitely a thing. I just never really experienced it because, like,
Or how about Africans, bro? Did you know they're racist against American black people? Did you know that?
I knew that. All the African people I've been around, bro, it's nothing but love, though.
Bro, one time I was in...
But it is a thing. It's definitely real.
Thing. I was working in this factory, and I was in the back of these... It was a tire factory. You had to throw these tires on this belt. So I'm throwing these tires on this belt, and the guy who was supposed to come in, he called out. So this African dude was the manager. So he comes to the back, you know, and I was back there working. I said, "Man, where's he at?" You know what I mean? He said, "Fucking nigger, he called out. I fucking hate them black motherfuckers." And I went, "Bro, you're African. What the fuck are you talking about?" He said, "No, they're not the same." He was getting mad at me. I was like, "What the fuck?" I didn't know the African. And then I've heard it. Like, he wasn't the only person that I've heard say some shit like that. Because looking the way I look, here's another thing. Being biracial and looking the way I look, I hear all, like, you don't hear the shit that motherfuckers be saying. They be a lot more lax around me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot more lax. Like,
So you're like Afro-Latina, but...
I'm just, my dad's black, my mom's Mexican.
Yeah. So we call that Afro-Latina.
I don't know what y'all call that nowadays. Well, you know what we called it?
We call it black with good hair.
We call
That's
it
what
black skin.
There you go. Yeah.
That's what we
But
call
no,
it.
like, it's a real thing because... It's a super real thing but I've just never experienced it. But there are
true.
huge cultural differences, like our family dynamic, how we treat each other, how we talk to each other, how we get along with one each other. But again, like, I think that's more of a they problem than a us problem,
Man.
Because we just like I said, like,
That's
we
so
really
true.
like, bro, like Italian mafia people are some of the most racist people on the planet.
They
and
are.
Black
You're
people be
right.
like, "Yo, that dude is so
Gotti,
fresh."
I love Gotti. Yeah, they are racist.
I'm Gotti.
They're racist as fuck.
I'm Capone. Like, literally, we love their culture. Like,
you know what I just thought
and they're
of?
the most racist people.
You talked about Gotti. You made me think, if America is racist, it's in the prisons. It's 100% in the prisons.
Yeah.
100%. Go get some coffee off of black. Be white. Go get some coffee off of brother. See what happens to you.
Yeah.
Go play chess. But
Just at the same time, I think that's, I don't know. That's different rules. That's
a different
like,
life.
It's like
It's a
that's like
different
a
life.
whole different. It's like almost a different country. It's like, or like, you know how, like, if you go to New York, it's its own thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it's America, but it's like it's its own thing.
Every state's almost its own
exactly
thing.
like prison is like it's its own thing.
Oh, racist is that shit's popping in there. I remember I was up in there, and I said, "Oh, I'm mixed." He said, "Don't say that.
Yeah,
you're
you can't
Mexican."
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
I'm not Mexican, bro. He said, "No, you're Mexican in here."
Yeah.
I was like, oh. What I did is, so what they do is they first when they see you're young, first, and I was spent a year in the county before, so I already knew what was gonna happen. And they come up to you, they say, recruit you into this. They try to recruit you. You got to roll with us. Somebody's gonna hurt you. You need protection. They try to recruit you. What I did is I went to the guy who, the shot caller, the guy who had the keys. I went to him and I was like, yo, I don't want to get involved in none of this stuff. I just want to do my time. Like I had a serious talk, and luckily I got a guy who was like, let him be.
Really?
Yeah, bro. I had such a good time. Like,
really?
Yeah, it was like
I heard it wasn't a choice.
No, I went and had talked to that guy. Like you hang with your race for sure. No, you don't have to get in a gang. You don't have to get in a gang.
But you hang with your race.
But you have to hang with your race. But I hung with everybody because that guy told me I was good because I had that talk with him. So
okay.
My experience was probably a bad experience for people because I had a really easy time.
Well, all right, so I'm not a street dude, but like I be around street dudes, but I'm not a street dude. I hear it and I get it, but I don't understand the dynamic of why race, why not age?
I don't know.
Why not like, you know, sentencing time,
gang, whatever, right?
Like,
yeah.
why is that the go-to? Like when it's really like you against the guards, or you against yourself, or you against the system, or even religion. Like, why is it race?
That's a good question.
Like, I guess, like I hear it.
It's true,
but I don't get it.
Yeah, it's true though.
Is it just because it's like the easiest thing to identify, or is it?
Maybe it's just from back in the day, and it just never changed. I mean, I really don't have the answer to that. You know what I mean? But it is 100% true. It's 100%
because, like, when you really break it down, like, there's so many ways that we're different that we could like find way more
why do they do
contention with, like. Political affiliation,
short timers, long timers,
tall, short.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm gonna look that, bro. You just sent me down a rabbit hole. I'm gonna find out. I'll call you.
I mean, and that's why. I mean, I don't know, bro. Like,
but it's true.
I just feel like if I have to be in here, bro, if I have to be in here and sit down in here, like, we should be trying to make this as easy and cool and fun as possible. It's like, yo, bro, like, I did some dirt out here, but it's like, I'm trying to get back to it. Like, I'm just sitting down in here, like, I mean, some of it I think is how we do prison, because, you know, how we do prison is more of just like taking people and throwing them away and then making a profit off of them. Like, it's just a different slave class type of thing.
Yeah,
we're not there to really rehabilitate people, but at the same time, like, that's still systematic stuff. It's like, if you're in there and I'm in there, it's like, yo, we both in here doing time. We trying to make this thing go by as quick as possible. We might as well have as much good times as we can.
Yeah.
Like,
it's the rascals, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
rascals.
I don't know, bro. That's just me. But I'm not a street dude. But I be around street dudes, but I'm not a street dude. So
I mean, I'm
don't
not
understand.
neither, but I've been around. I'm old. And I could say what makes prison time, and anybody, like, I don't know, you might not understand this, but like anybody who's been locked up listening is going to understand this. What makes prison time rough is the inmates, not the convicts. All right? So
say that again?
What makes prison time rough is the inmates, not the convicts.
That's deep.
So you could be an inmate or you could be a convict. What's the difference? Convict's there. He's doing his time. He's getting rehabilitated. He's going to work. He's just here to do his time and go home. Inmates up in here fighting, stealing, talking back to the guards, shooting on the female guards, throwing piss. That's an inmate. You know what I mean? those are the ones that go around. Hey bro, let's go get this guy. Hey, if you don't go beat this guy up, then we gonna beat you up. Da 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 da. Those are inmates. Those are the people that make jail hard. And you have lifelong inmates. You know what I mean? That never become convicts.
Yeah.
You know, there's a difference. You know. That might be a lot of street guys probably understood, but there's all the people sitting at the suburb. What's he mean? They don't like.
That's why I asked you. I was like, break that down, because
there's a difference.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense.
But you know what? We talked so much, like just kind of getting to know each other, that we kind of missed a little bit of your story. We know you were from the Springs. Well, actually, we did get a little bit in, now that I think about it. From the Springs, you went to college. You got a bachelor's from the University of Colorado, right?
Yeah.
And then you got your dad was in the military. He retired. Your mother works in hotels. They divorced when you were about 10 or 11 years old. Caused you some anger. Now you're doing music. And you know what else we learned about you? You're pretty intelligent. You read a lot?
No, I listen to a lot of podcasts though. Watch a lot of videos, and I like to learn. I just don't like to read as much.
Yeah.
But I love learning. It's just like I kind of don't like sitting in one spot. I kind of have to do something.
Well, you're pretty intelligent.
Thank you.
Well, I think you're pretty intelligent. At least, I mean, might not mean a lot coming from me because I'm pretty low on the totem pole. But
Nah, you're fine.
You know, I'm like the guy. You ever seen Idiocracy?
No.
It's like they're all dumb.
You're
You never seen it,
bro?
No. So like this, you gotta watch it. It's so funny. What it is this guy somehow, I forget the premise, but he ends up in the future, and in the future everybody's dumb, and he was dumb now. So they give him an IQ test, and he like gets like what's a low score nowadays? Just an average score, 70.
I think so.
So like he gets an average score, and they're like, he's a genius. He gets the biggest score. And like one of the things is like the whole thing is they can't make their crops grow, but it's because they were feeding using Gatorade on their crops. And he was like, why don't you use water? And they're all getting mad. It's been 3 days and this water's not working. He's like, it has to grow.
Yeah. Nah, bro. But you're plenty intelligent.
Yeah.
Plenty.
I'm like the guy, I was saying there, they said, I'm that guy who they said, he's like the Secretary of State. They're like, he voted second highest. And he's like, oh
my God. That's crazy.
But anyways, tell me a little bit about what you have going on. Do you have anything coming up or going on, or what are you doing right now? Are you doing more music?
So I'll back up. So my name is Json Martin. I am a singer, songwriter, artist, producer, rapper, engineer, cinematographer, photographer, pianist, graphic designer.
Oh man, that's a long list.
And I know when people like to list stuff off like that, people kind of are a little skeptical because it's like there's no way you can do all that and do it well. But no, like I legitimately do that and I do it well. I literally made a living off of doing that. I still make a living off of doing that. The reason why I do so much stuff that I do is because, you know, at a young age, I wanted to be in the entertainment industry, and I wanted to be an artist. And, you know, me being the perspective person that I am, I understood, okay, I'm from Denver and I'm trying to make it as an artist. A lot of people aren't going to take me seriously unless if I can somehow manage to, one, be a cut above the rest, but two, also, you know, be able to cut down costs, you know, because being an artist is a very, very expensive thing. Recording studio time, music videos, production, beats, all that type of stuff. It all costs money. So I was like, I'm going to better my chances of actually making it in this industry by taking on as many things as I can and learning them and becoming not just good, but great at it. So I started my journey and one by one started tackling each one of these disciplines. And then not only was I able to tackle these disciplines, I was also able to turn that into a business. I created my own creative media business where, you know, I serviced various different people in the community, creating commercials for them where literally, you know, I would film their commercial, I would write the music for their commercial, sing on it and everything. I would do it all. As an artist, I worked mainly in rap, neo soul, hip hop, and gospel. I had some really good achievements. For instance, I was able to be a completely self-sufficient artist and an independent artist. And I like to say that I was an independence artist. What that means is, you know, a lot of people say that they're an independent artist. What they mean is like they are free of contractual obligations from an entity. When I say I'm an independent artist, I mean I do not have to go to anybody other than myself for everything that I needed, unless if I wanted to. So I don't have to pay a producer for beats. I can make it myself. I don't have to go to anybody's recording studio. I could do it myself. I don't have to hire a singer. I could do it myself. I don't have to hire a pianist. Do it all myself. Photography, film, music videos, everything. And from that, I gained a reputation. I went on an HBCU tour, performed at multiple festivals from crowds of 50 to 9,000 and successfully rocking these shows, because a lot of times in this industry, you can get on a big show in front of a huge crowd and the crowd's not really feeling you. You're just there because you knew the right person or you paid the right person. No, like I actually was entertaining these people, building a fan base, making money. I had opened up for Rick Ross, John B., Vito, Twista, historical figures like the Tuskegee Airmen, and done a lot. And, you know, recently, within the past 2 to 3 years, you know, it had stopped becoming so fulfilling for me. This being on stage just didn't have the same magic as it did. And I had to start recognizing that I'm getting a little bit older and I'm not really seeing the results of where I really want to be. And in music, there's an ideology that says, well, if you're not here at a certain time, or you didn't make it to this platform, or work with this person, or make this much money, it just means that you didn't work hard enough. You were lazy. You didn't want it. And I knew that that ideology wasn't true, because I literally was doing everything. I did everything in my power. And I was beating my competition by a lot. I was innovating past my competition by a lot. I was already creating short form content and skits before it became popular, before TikTok, for all of that. But I still just wasn't, you know, I wasn't signed, and I wasn't, you know, let's just be honest, I wasn't the superstar that I had envisioned myself to be. And so I got very depressed. And ultimately, I walked away from music. And I had quit and taken on just a regular 9-to-5 day job, and was like, I just don't want to deal with this anymore. But then, you know, I had to start really asking myself, well, why was I doing all this? And it turned out that much of the decisions that I was making had nothing to do with my love of music or my passion for it. It all had to stemmed from unhealthy, unchecked ambition, me needing validation, me needing attention, me wanting applause, me wanting my name to be recognized. Much of the exact same things that many artists kind of get into this business kind of find themselves in. And when I realized, like, yo, I've been doing this kind of for the wrong reasons, and seeing how much of this was just about my own ego and trying to, essentially turning my own self into an idol, I realized like, well, God can't really bless that. And so then I slowly started putting things back together and have now since started doing gospel. And now I have this incredible project that's, gospel taken to a whole new dimension and level, that I've been, accruing some opportunities for. And now I'm kind of doing it in, doing what I was doing, but with a different motivation and a different passion and a different perspective. And what I want to try to help people out these days is kind of saving a lot of these young artists the headache and the heartache that I went through, because I was so wrapped up in my identity of wanting to make it in the music industry that when I didn't make it, it wasn't that my music failed, it was that I failed. And I thought that I didn't have any value or purpose. And so I became suicidal. And I spiraled and self-isolated because, again, it was about me not being able to find my own identity in what I did, or better yet, it was me putting so much identity in what I did that when it wasn't working and going up to my standards, I just collapsed. And that gave me a passion for young artists, because like I know so many artists that are in my exact shoes right now. And back then I know artists that are literally pushing, in their 40s and 50s, still trying to make it as a music career because their identity is so wrapped up in this one thing, this one version of success, that literally life has passed them by. It's not passing them by. It's like, dude, you gave 20 years to this thing. 20, 30 years. And you still feel like a failure even though you've got a family and you've got people that love you. And so I completely deconstructed not just what music is to me, but why we do music. So earlier we had conversations of, why do you want to be in this industry? What does a Grammy mean? What does that feature mean? And a lot of the stuff that we do in this entertainment industry has nothing to do with our craft, has nothing to do with our passion, has everything to do with unchecked, unbalanced ambition. And that will lead you to being absolutely miserable. You want to know how all these celebrities literally have $1 million in their bank account? All the women they could want, all the sex they can have, all the drugs they can take, still kill themselves?
That's why. When you talk about, did you actually attempt suicide?
Yes, several times.
Can you tell me about it?
I'll tell you about the defining one. One, it is also true that I am clinically depressed. Most very good artists are. I'm a very good artist. History of mental illness runs my mom's side of the family. Every male in my mom's side of the family has some sort of mental illness. I was lucky with depression. My grandfather killed himself. He was schizophrenic. My uncle essentially killed himself. He was bipolar. My cousin attempted suicide. He was bipolar.
Wow.
Many people in my family have been checked into mental hospitals and lived out their lives there. The defining moment where I really gave myself to God was, music wasn't working. I had some betrayals with my creative team. personal relationship wise, the woman that I thought I would spend the rest of my life with, wounded me in a very, very nasty, deep way. Life just was not working. And I had just had enough. I was tired. And I was angry with God. Angry. Because it was, if you're an all-powerful, almighty God, why would you let this happen to me? And if you're not going to give me a purpose for my life, then why am I here? And so I got belligerently drunk. And I took a box cutter. And I attempted to slit my wrist. And the blade would not cut. I had self-harmed in the past, so obviously I know what I'm doing. But it was in that moment, as much as I tried to, the blade would not cut. And you would think that's a holy hallelujah moment. Celebrate. But it was more of a God's not going to let me go home. I have to walk this out. And at that time, I didn't know why. There's still times I don't know why. But it was a despairing thing because it's like, wow, if I really tried to kill myself, God's not going to let me leave. And I was hurt by that because it was like, well, I don't know what my purpose is, and I'm going to have to walk this out. I can't quit. And that's a hard space to be in. But nonetheless, I took it day by day. I don't think I really told anybody that story until today. And, slowly as time has gone by, I've come to realizing what my purpose is. And what I feel like my purpose is to try to be like Moses and get some of these slaves free. Because I'm not the only person that was dealing with those feelings. It's a whole industry of people that are trying to make it, whether it's sports, music, acting, modeling, that I can relate to because I know exactly what it is. I know exactly how you feel. Been there, did it. And I want to be able to help those people by understanding that and put things into perspective, because nobody talked to me about this. Nobody talked to me about blind ambition and the dangers of it. If anything, it's one of the biggest traps there is, because we're taught as Americans, oh, you got to work hard. Work till it hurts. Work till you take years off your life. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. If you want to win, you got to want it. Work, work, work. Passion, passion, passion. Ambition, ambition, ambition. It's good to be ambitious. We celebrate the people who are ambitious. Look at Diddy. Look at Jay-Z. Look at how they work. And we look at these individuals that the tiny, tiny, tiny people that made it, but they made it and they got all these problems. They made it and they're pedophiles. They made it and they're alcoholics. They made it and they can't make their marriages work. But we idolize them and we forget the mountains of people, the mountains of bodies, the mountains of souls moving with a limp.
That's deep. Thank you for sharing that with me. You know you're a blessing, right? No, don't think about it. bro, when I saw your page, and I know I've already told you this, but when I saw the way you were moving, and I went through your shit deeply. You know, and you're a blessing, bro, and you're so gifted, and success is a definition in the mind. Now, being rich, so-called make it. Like you talked about the guy who's 40, 50 years old. He gave 20 years to this. How lucky is he? He got to do music for 20 years. That's success, bro. That's success. You got to look at it.
It is
different.
When it's in the right frame of mind, it is.
That's exactly.
When you're actually enjoying it and truly enjoying it for the love of doing it, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you're putting your loved ones on the back burner because you got to do this show at this local bar, or you're sitting up there taking your paycheck to hop on this opportunity to be with this artist instead of enriching your own life because you're trying to make it.
Your make it is the wrong definition. You got to pivot that. That's
passion and ambition is like fire. It has its uses, but left unchecked will burn everything to a crisp.
Yeah. You want to know when I thought I made it? When I had a house. I had got an apartment. And I remember like sitting in my apartment and I was like, we didn't have no furniture.
Yeah.
But I was like,
and it's a beautiful thing.
I made it.
It's a beautiful thing.
You know,
man.
I have a home.
Yeah.
So it's just like, would that be made it to somebody else? Probably not. You know, it just depends on the mindset, like you said.
Yeah.
You know, but you are a blessing, man. It hurt my soul to hear you did that. And I love everybody, man. And that's why it's part of this podcast. And I just wanted to tell you that you're a blessing. And don't ever forget that. Next time you feel like that, and I know I got the best looking face in the world, but you remember this face telling you. And everybody who knows me, they know what I say. Well, you've talked to me for like 2 or 3 hours now. I think you know me pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty genuine person.
Yeah.
And if I tell you something, you could take it to the bank. All right? Cash it.
Yeah.
You're a blessing, bro. So take that shit to the bank.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. And thank you for having me on, man.
Yeah. I mean that with my whole heart.
Let me tell my story.
No, that was really, maybe we should have started off with that.
Where it had to be. It was good. We can edit it.
So with that being said, you kind of gave it, but it kind of felt like you were giving it right there. But what is your message? What I ask people at the end of the podcast, after they tell me their story, is I ask them what their message to the world is.
Yeah.
Right, what do you have to say?
Yeah,
and
my
I always
message,
ask them to look in the camera.
Yeah, my message to the world is understand where blind ambition and passion can take you. And you have to redefine your own success because, yeah, I guess just redefine your passion and understanding the complicities and how dark things can get with understanding. Because really, my message isn't so much, it is to the world, but it's specifically to those that are passionate about really driving towards their goals by any means necessary. That's a dangerous road to be on.
You're going to look at that camera, you're going to say, my message is for you people out there.
So my message is for the people that are so passionate about their goals that they have adopted a by any means necessary attitude. That is a dangerous road to be on. And it's not going to bring you what you think it's going to be. It's not admirable. It's not honorable. I know that our society and our country and our culture tells us otherwise, But unchecked ambition will cause you to absolutely ruin your life. And your life is not a dress rehearsal. This is it. You get one. And what you do in this time absolutely matters. So I'm asking you to redefine your success. And do not allow you constantly chasing your passions to absolutely demolish yourself.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I think I relate to that very much so. I think we talked offline. I told you a little bit about, why I retired and everything.
Yeah.
I feel that. I feel that a lot. Mm-hmm. It was nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too, man.
Thank you for coming in, and we even got political. We got talked about racism, reparations. Mm-hmm. I've never had this is my first political podcast.
That's good.
Could you call that political? That was just more bit. Like two guys shooting the jargon.
I mean, a little bit. I mean, I don't think we talk policies as much.
No, we talk. Talked about what the ordinary person on the street, the ordinary people on the street aren't talking about policies. We're talking about how much bread is.
Yeah.
You like my basement, my man cave?
Man, you got the arcades going. You got it made, games. Bro. You got it made.
I'm blessed.
Oh, very blessed.
I'm so blessed. I'm so lucky.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes go to my Instagram, scroll up to like the very first.
You gotta add me. You never added me.
Okay. I'll add you in a minute. Scroll up to the very first video. Mm-hmm. It's every house I ever lived in.
Oh, that's cool.
So I went to on a vacation. So my dad died, my stepdad. Mm-hmm. And when I told you, they called it basics. They were the cops, and it really opened my eyes, bro. It really opened my eyes. And I told myself, I'm not gonna let when you get older, like you grow apart from your immediate family. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like your brothers and your sisters and your mom and your dad, because you start having your own family. And then you kind of forget about them and you start living your life and you just forget that they're there. And before you know it, y'all start growing old. Mm-hmm. And then all that time is just lost. Yeah. And it's really no excuse. You can make effort to see. And when my dad died, I so regretted not making those efforts. You know what I mean? Like you were talking about blind ambition. Yeah. Bro, I should be in the UFC, but I was running businesses. I put that birthdays. I think the longest I went was 26 hours, 27 hours straight working without just, and then I slept an hour and went another 26 hours. It really, it physically,
took from you.
Yeah, I fucking pass out in here and fall down the stairs and had a heart attack and all that stuff. I kind of got ADD. I kind of got ADD from what I was telling you. But so I thought about all that and I was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to see my loved ones. So I went to Texas, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia. You said West Virginia is funny because that's where my dad was from, my stepdad. Yeah. So I grew up in West Virginia. I know all about how racist they are. Man, that's so racist. Different. That's more racist than Alabama. More racist. You think Alabama was more racist?
I only was there passing through.
West Virginia is the most racist place I've ever been.
Yeah, I've only been there passing through, but I don't know. My stepdad has told me some horror stories about North Chicago too.
Oh, Chicago?
North Chicago.
Oh,
the city is divided almost to this day, still almost segregated
city,
by white and black, north and south.
It is, yeah.
And so, he was telling me some crazy stories.
Yeah. Well, I went to Texas. When I was down there, So like people see you successful, they don't see the shit you go through.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll be getting so stressed out before I retired. Just, bro, I've been sued like 10 times. When you got money, everybody wants it. Mm-hmm. And so I was so stressed out when I was on this vacation. And I told myself, I'm going to go and check out, my brother told me, go check out the houses. So then I just got in my head, I said, I'm going to go look at all the houses I lived in. So I went. First, when I hit the neighborhood, I was like, oh, shit, I'm from here. It was like, look fucking rough. And it almost exactly how I remembered it, to be honest. But then as I was going, looking at my houses and shit, bro, it was the most humbling. Like, I don't know if this is conceited or big-headed, but I was like, fuck, I made it. Like, I was like, God damn, like, why am I stressed out over money? Like, why am I stressed out over money? Like, who gives a fuck? Like, why am I, like, I made it. Like, I'm from here. Like I was looking around, like I'm from here. Like, I don't know how to, it was so humbling.
Yeah.
It was just very, very,
Where's
very
like
humbling.
the nicest vacation you've taken?
Well, that's mindset. I think it was because you could say, like, I went to, like, I don't know, stayed in pretty fancy hotels and stuff, but the nicest vacation was this one that I went and saw the houses, and I saw my aunt and my family, and I went to
because it meant something to you.
It meant something to me. Like, I went to Atlanta and saw my black family, and that was, my aunt had it. So I didn't tell you. So I didn't even know them growing up, bro.
Oh,
I found them on ancestry.com. And I went and I visit them. You know, I knew I was mixed.
You should take a nice luxury one though, man.
I should, but I rather see my family.
Like, God made a great, amazing world, bro.
Yeah, see the world.
Like,
yeah, that's true.
Like, the one place I really want to go, and I'm so determined to go there this year, is Sedona, Arizona.
It was like the deserts.
It is, but it's like a portion of the Grand Canyon, but it's not the Grand Canyon. It's just a very specific. Like, just look it up. Sedona, Arizona. Look at like the landscape, and you'll be like, I see why.
Yeah,
I see why.
No, I'm like you. I want to take my kids to see the world.
Yeah, like, what country would you go to?
Oh, so we were gonna go to Italy, but just because I wanted to see the Colosseum and Rome and all of that stuff, but somewhere. Europe or Asia or somewhere over there where I'm a nerd, man. I like history. Yeah. Maybe the pyramids or something, like somewhere where there's a lot of history.
Yeah. Like, I'm super paranoid because I'm really privileged being in the United States. Like, the country that has the biggest military in all of human history. So I feel very
we
protected.
Talk a lot of shit about this place, but we ain't going nowhere. Trust me.
Like, and then on top of that, we're in Colorado, which is like, we don't have earthquakes. We don't really get tornadoes.
Beautiful weather. Snow's gone in one day.
Yeah, like, you just survive the fires in the summer. You're pretty great.
Yeah.
But like, so I am a little paranoid going outside, but like, I'd love to go to Japan. I'd love to go to Africa.
Japan, yeah.
I'd love to actually go to like Israel and see all the biblical sites, but like, they always tripping over there.
Yeah,
so like,
that's true.
Like, it's always something over there. Like, it seems like there's never a good time to go.
Do you like history?
I love history.
Yeah, me too.
I love history. Like I wanna see the Nile. I wanna go to the rainforest.
Oh man, you're like me.
Like, I wanna go to Brazil and like, I wanna see a lot of stuff. I really do. Like, I've never been to Hawaii.
Oh bro,
like,
you should start a YouTube channel, travel channel.
Hey, if somebody wants to sponsor me, I'll film the whole thing, man. From sun up to sundown.
There's sponsors out there. All right, so y'all all listened to this, what he had to say about having that blind ambition. That is a very true statement. It's a very true statement. I have lived it myself. I've felt it myself. And not everybody ends up at the end of their journey with a big house. Some people, that is his point. So there's been many times and many things, like if I could go back and change a lot of things, and let's just say I changed these things and it changed out my outcomes, I'd probably do it. I probably wouldn't miss my daughter's school performances. I probably wouldn't miss birthday parties. Or I probably wouldn't miss phone calls where my dad was calling me and I ignored it because I was working on a project or something. That's one thing I guarantee you I wouldn't do. So it's good to have a drive. It's good to work hard, but always realize that time is passing, and those precious moments, you won't get them back. Money's good, success is good, and I grew up with nothing, and maybe it took having it to see it, but it's not everything. The people who love you, care about you, that's everything. The passions in your life, no matter what it is. I don't care if you like cutting blades of grass with scissors for fun. If that's what drives you, when you're laying, because nobody lays on their deathbed and thinks, I wish I would have grinded a little bit. I wish I would have made another $1,000. No one lays on their deathbed and thinks, I wish I would have got another promotion at work. What you're gonna think, what's gonna go, and I'm not dead, so I can't tell you, but what I think you're gonna think about is your inner circle and your loved ones. I know when it's my time to go, and no matter how old my children are, I'm gonna be worried about them. I'm not gonna be worried about my house or my cars. I'll be worried about them. But I didn't mean to hit everybody on a bummy note. I just want you to realize what he said had purpose. I'm glad you listened to the podcast. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Did you want to add anything else in? You good? All right. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. This is C-Rod. C-Rod's Tell Me Your Story podcast, and I'm out.